Hey everyone, this is Kieran. I would say this is my first blog or vlog, but not really. Feel free to check out my hash node. Just wanted to make this video just because I recently learned about webhooks, which I thought were pretty cool. Um, so right here, just give a basic rundown of what a webhook is. So we have your client, we have your API gateway, and then we have some sort of third-party service. The client makes a request to the API gateway, and then the API gateway makes a request to the third-party service, which is normal, but this is kind of problematic since if the third-party service takes a while to fulfill the request, this HTTP request from the client to the API gateway is going to be hanging, and that's just going to place extra stress on your API gateway. And a way to remedy that actually is to use webhooks, where we say, hey, the client, I want this job done to the API gateway, and then the API gateway get this job done from this other third-party service. Request goes from the client to the API gateway to the third-party service, and then once it hits the third-party service from the API gateway, the API gateway returns back to the client. Okay, all good. Status message like 202, which just means accepted. And so then this API service will then run, let's say 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then once completed, we'll then tell the API gateway that it's done, and then the API gateway will then return the data back to the client. And so I actually recently ran into this problem with one of my projects, which was creating an inference API for the Intel Developer Cloud. Insert that right now. Excuse me. Okay, here's a demo. My app. Let's say an Apple 4K image for the server. Here we go. Successfully posted the command to the server. Now it's downloading, running on into Developer Cloud. Generating the photo, give it some time. And there we go. And you might have noticed that the Developer Cloud took a little bit to finish its task, and so the requests were hanging. And so a way that I wanted to get around that was to create a webhook, and that's what I have running right here. A basic webhook implementation. Open up the client. So if we have, I just have a basic Express app running here, as well as a Flask server. If I click emulate webhook, message accepted, this posts information, and then 5 seconds later, the task was completed. This comes directly from the post request response, or the post middleware that is handled in the Flask server. See, return JSONify message accepted 202, and this message returns 5 seconds later. I set it to 5, or actually it looks like it's 3 seconds. 3 seconds later, directly from the API gateway. Or this can just be any third-party service. I decided to do like a promise-esque kind of way of returning information back to the client, where this function just sleeps for 3 seconds, and then all this data is then returned back to an endpoint on the web server that was run by Express. And so the way that this is kept track is that whenever somebody connects to the Express server, this client array is propagated or filled with all the clients, and then whenever a client makes a request, first rather, the client, whenever the client connects, it makes a fetch to the register endpoint on the Express server, and then the client is assigned a random ID. And whenever it wants to emulate the webhook, it passes on the ID. As we can see, this is the ID of my current instance, to the Flask server, so then it can return it properly using server-side events, which is what I used to return data from the webhook. And if we go back into here, the reason why I used server-side events was so that I don't have to like long poll or short poll, nor did I want to use WebSockets. Just wanted to try out something new. So when the data is sent back to the API gateway from the third-party service, this is usually at an endpoint. In my case, it was webhook callback, and then this was on the Express server, and then this information was then given back to the client. Given back to the client via server sent event. Bruh, there we go. And yeah, that is all to it. Thanks for watching my dev vlog.